Let's talk about something that affects all of us, but nobody seems to have a really balanced take on, which is consumption. Whether it's overconsumption or underconsumption, it seems that everybody says that one is worse than the other, but I would like to challenge that idea today. By the end of this video, I promise you'll be able to understand how both underconsumption and overconsumption work together, and you'll get some practical steps on how to approach your daily life with more mindfulness and gratitude. Let's get to it. First, let's make something clear. You cannot have overconsumption without underconsumption. They're essentially two sides of the same coin, and they're often rooted in our past experiences or our unmet needs, or essentially both. For example, if you grew up with a scarcity mindset, whether due to financial struggles or maybe there was some emotional deprivation going on, you might be over-consuming today, essentially filling the void within you that unfortunately cannot be filled with all those material things that you are trying to feel, or maybe with some meaningless relationships. On the flip side, some people might actually be still under-consuming, essentially repeating those same patterns that they were conditioned to. The important part is to understanding where that consumption, whether over or under, is actually coming from. And that would be your first step towards finding a more balanced, a more meaningful, a more intentional life, and essentially more meaningful consumption, if that makes sense. To put it out here to make sure that you understand that when I'm talking about over and under consumption, it's not just about materialistic things. We gotta dig deeper, and we gotta understand that over and under consumption can be on so many levels, which is eating, seeking for affection, seeking for validation, whether it's through social media or through people pleasing. Make sure that you keep that in mind as I go through this video, and you understand that overconsumption is not just about materialistic things. Some examples that I'm going to be bringing up, they're more inclined towards materialistic things, so it's easier for you to understand. But when you're going to be journaling and reflecting on all these questions, make sure that you touch upon things that you could be over and under consuming that you didn't think you were actually subconsciously doing that. Now let's talk about the trends. In today's social media world, unfortunately, in one way or another, we all get influenced by them. What the most important part here is to take a step back, reflect on whatever is being currently promoted. It is very important to ask yourself a question as to why do you need to follow that specific particular trend? Is it because it truly aligns with who you are and what your values are? Or is it just another form of overconsumption disguised as social pressure? I know these are very big questions, and I would really like you to reflect upon them whenever the certain trend comes out, because it will definitely help you down the road. The more often you do it, the easier it will get. For example, you see a viral skincare product that everybody is raving about. So before hopping on the train and buying that skincare product, actually ask yourself, does it actually resonate with me? Do I actually need it, or do I have something similar? And actually reflect on your past experience. For example, did that product that everybody was raving about that I bought before, did it actually help me, or was it kind of useless? Don't buy it because, society or social media is putting that pressure on you that you have to have it, because if you have it, you'll be feeling XYZ, or you'll achieve XYZ, or whatever. Make sure that you get something because it truly resonates with you. I'd like to call it a resonating consumption. It's essentially about choosing intentionally and not out of impulse. Essentially, you're buying something because it truly aligns with who you are and your values are, instead of just blindly following whatever's everybody suggesting and advising you to get. Now let's dig a little bit deeper. Let's kind of go inside of us. So what is our consumption trying to shield? What is it trying to protect us from? A very important question. Are you buying whatever you're buying? Are you consuming whatever you're consuming because you feel like that's what your higher self will be doing? So essentially higher self, meaning the version of you that is grounded, secure, calm, and clear on what they want? Or is it your inner child who is very unhappy, who is very grumpy, who is very needy, is making you consume all those things that will essentially be unable to fill in that void? Consumption can be a way of covering insecurities or avoiding discomfort. For example, we can tend to consume more than we have to when we feel stressed out, when we feel that there's not enough nurture to give ourselves. That's when we can go on a huge shopping spree, or when we can indulge in a tub of ice cream, all that kind of stuff. The next time you're putting an item into your shopping cart, whether it's online or in store, ask yourself a question. What am I trying to fill here? Is this something that my true self needs, or am I trying to soothe fear or some form of discomfort? So, for example, maybe you are stocking up on certain items on sale at a grocery store, but you don't really need, 10 cans of tomato paste, for example. But if you dig deeper, maybe you're buying all those things because deep inside of you, your inner child feels unsafe without having some sort of illusion of abundance. Or maybe you're actually under-consuming. Maybe you're actually depriving yourself, for example, of good quality food or of good quality clothing. You are holding yourself back from enjoying things that you want to enjoy that will actually bring you joy and comfort and peace and even like some sort of self-esteem, because you are afraid of wasting or overindulgence. So essentially you also have a scarcity mindset, but it's a different kind. You're essentially afraid of loss too. So in a way, I'd rather underconsume than consume and lose it all, if that makes sense. Both are forms of self-protection, but none of them will actually grant you freedom. So how we would be dealing with all that? Here's the secret. Sometimes you already have everything that you need. Let's take makeup, for example. For instance, you might not have all those fancy products that everybody seems to be raving about. Maybe with a little bit of creativity, or maybe by using the things that you already have, you can also do wonders with your makeup. So I'll take myself, for example. I wanted to buy like a shimmery pencil to put it like in the corners of my eyes, but then I looked at my current makeup products and I already had like an eyeshadow stick that also is very close to a light glittery color. All I do is just use a little small brush and put it in the corners of my eyes, and it works wonders, and I didn't have to buy anything, so I can actually use what I already have. So sometimes it's not essentially about getting more and more and more, but it's more about being resourceful and making the most out of what you already have. And here is where the magic happens. The more grateful you are for what you already have, the easier it will be for you to attract more of good things, because essentially you will be vibing on higher frequencies. Gratitude is a quite high frequency, and you'll be able to attract more abundance, more positive in your life. So next time you feel the urge to buy something, take a step back and actually take a moment to appreciate everything that you already have. And that gratitude can actually show you that maybe you do not need to buy, the next best thing, the next viral skincare product that comes out. Maybe you can actually appreciate what you already have, because every little thing, every little item of clothing that you have is already loved by you, and it resonates with who you truly are. When we're talking about overconsumption, and if you have too many things, so for example, like clothes, makeup, skincare, whatever that might be, you do not necessarily need to get rid of them in terms of like just putting them in the garbage. What I'm trying to say through my video is we gotta make sure that we make the most out of what we already have. And if you have too much, by making the most out of what you have, it could mean that you can donate those things, you can sell them, you can just give them for free, whatever you might think will be fitting your situation. But please do not put them in the garbage, because some people might actually find those things useful, especially those who might be under-consuming. So essentially both can work together as long as it's done mindfully and intentionally. So what's the takeaway? Whether it's overconsumption, whether it's underconsumption, whether you're doing both in different aspects of your life, it's important not to label one as good and the other one as bad. It's essentially important to reflect, to understand why you consume the way you do. So, practical question for you here is, the next time you are tempted by a sale to go and buy a bunch of things that you don't really need, or maybe the opposite, maybe the next time you're trying to deprive yourself of buying something that you actually need or that would actually make your life easier or bring you joy, comfort, and peace, ask yourself, what is my intention here? Am I making this choice because it truly aligns with me, with who I am, my values? Or is this driven by some sort of emotional response? So a few things that I would like you to do. Make sure that you grab a journal and journal on all those questions that were mentioned in this video. The other thing that I'd like you to do while you're at it, while you're journaling, make sure that you write at least 10 good things that you are already grateful for that you have in your life. It could be material things, it could be non-material things, it could be your relationships, it could be your health, it could be your well-being, anything. And if you want to take it a little bit more deeper, what I would actually suggest you is to, every night before bed, try to write 10 good things that you are grateful for. And you'll understand that the more often you do it, the easier it will get for you to actually appreciate the things that you already have. And you'll be less tempted and less driven by social media trends to buy things that you actually don't need. Instead, you will be able to make the most out of what you already have. So my point here is to tell you that, please, let's stop thinking that overconsumption or underconsumption are bad. I want you to see this as an opportunity to understand yourself better, practice gratitude, and make more intentional choices. Before you go, I'd like you to reflect on one thing. What's one area of your life where you might be over-consuming and under-consuming? If you like, leave a comment below and let's have a chat. If not, that's fine too. I respect your privacy. Thanks for watching, and I want you to remember that it's not about following a trend, but it's actually about doing something that truly resonates with you and who you are. If you guys looking for more tips on mindfulness and personal growth, please make sure to check out my other videos where I share some practical steps and advice that actually works. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you guys thought. I'm hoping to see you in my next video. Bye!